Well, the end of the year is a traditional time for summing up. The international agenda has been extremely busy. 2024 has become a leader in the number of elections. An electoral wave has swept over more than 70 countries. Almost half of the planet's population participated in elections at various levels. 4 billion people. Some managed to defend their sovereignty, while others are still trying to fight Western interference in internal affairs.
Just today, the inauguration of Georgian President Mikhail Kavalashvili took place. In any case, electoral battles have provoked both economic and geopolitical consequences. And all of us this year have witnessed the beginning of tectonic shifts in the world political system.
But the Anglo-Saxons do not give up their pathetic attempts to fiercely cling to the remnants of a unipolar world. World order. All this resembles a cheap movie where the actors clearly overact with screams, calls, and double standards. Wanted recognition? Here it is.
We couldn't overlook the efforts of those who stood out and decided to hold an anti-award of the year. It's an adapted Oscar 2024, considering the powerful's love for staging scenes on the political stage. And we have Yana Mendeleva with us. Yana, is everything ready for the award ceremony?
Good evening, studio. We are starting, ladies and gentlemen, those who throughout the year did everything to get into the nomination. The cast of the loud events of the outgoing year, directors and producers of the tragicomedy that became reality, and the creators of the scenery. We are starting our ceremony based on the most scandalous award in the world. "2024 on a planetary scale turned out to be rich in events. Some of them we would like to forget. But we will remind you, because just as you can't remove words from a song, you can't replay scenes in this movie.
When the ground slips from under your feet. January 1st became the deadliest in the last 13 years for the residents of Pesikava. There has never been such an earthquake. I think it was a terrible time for everyone. Western censors switched to alert mode, beaten but not broken by American pseudo-freedom of speech. He didn't land on a Moscow rooftop in search of truth.
We are in Moscow. We are here to interview the president of Russia.
Rivers of milk, rain of tomatoes, and barbecue on the highway. Tractor fever has gripped most of the EU countries.
Authorities should not pretend they don't see the problem.
A ruthless terrorist attack in Crocus City Hall. Dreams of attending a concert quickly turned into a desire to leave the building as soon as possible. When the country became inconvenient for the EU, the day that divided the Prime Minister's life into before and after. An attempt on officers in the center of a blooming garden.
It's time for me to take the first step. And that's forgiveness.
His name is Boris. Dozens of victims and hundreds injured.
It's a disaster. We hope for a quick resolution of the consequences.
Intense fighting, explosions among ruins, the Middle East conflict in its acute phase. Enclave residents exist in a humanitarian catastrophe.
Gaza has become a graveyard for children.
It's the prolongation of the Ukrainian conflict and simultaneously tightening belts.
We are not going to any war. We are against unconditional support for Ukraine.
All our lives, we are taught to beware of a leap year. But what if the problem is not in it at all?
And now, from the general to the specific, glued to screens with news feeds, many have been watching the progress of the American politics show for several months. The battle of the donkey and the elephant, or the rematch in the form of debates between Trump and Biden in the presidential race, did not meet the expectations of either viewers or Democrats. Joe was replaced by Harris, a forced but unsuccessful reshuffle. The 45th president of the USA brought victory to the Republican Party again and became the winner in the Comeback of the Year nomination.
Hello, Luba. I'm back.
And immediately the next nomination, we couldn't help but note the professional level of mastery in the art of staying in the shadows. Best Supporting Role. Laughing Kamala Harris.
I have a read.
He repeatedly stated that he would not absolve the unfortunate son of responsibility, and his administration spoke of a firm and pure determination not to interfere in judicial affairs. The master of the White House, but not of his word. Joe Biden became the winner in the Father of the Year nomination for an irreparable blow to the justice system in the country in exchange for pardoning his son Hunter.
Sunshine, come on! I love you! Come on, my son, come on. Come on, can I distract you for a second? Who is this? Is this your relative son?
I don't know him at all. Accepting that the world has long begun to transform into a multipolar one, the West is still unable. The blazing Middle East, cynical games of escalation, prolonging the Ukrainian conflict, chaos in Syria, and interference in the elections of independent countries. The winner in the Sabotage of the Year nomination is Uncle Sam. The image is personified, but the consequences are real year after year. The award for Best Visual Effects was eagerly sought by the USA and the UK, allowing Kyiv to strike deep into Russia with long-range missiles. But their aggressive actions provoked a mirrored response, the emergence of Oreshnik, which undoubtedly takes this nomination.
We brought you wonderful gifts. Be a good girl, open the door for us.
Violating the country's constitution, according to which the leader must be nonpartisan, she spoke at rallies and, at the behest of the West, called crowds of paid activists to protest. Best Production Design. Frenchwoman Zurabishvili receives the award for man-made chaos on the streets of Georgia.
She refused me, said she loves you. Think she loves you. She can't love me.
Events in Georgia led to another nomination. Worst Adapted Screenplay. This title was awarded to the outdated Manual of Color Revolutions. The most inhumane nomination of today's ceremony goes to our restless neighbor who unleashed a border genocide and continues to maim people in need of protection and asylum. Warsaw's Fence Policy. Best Editing of Barbed Barriers. The collapse of the European automotive industry. In recent months, several old world companies have announced massive staff cuts. Western car manufacturers are forced to count losses. The recession wave at Volkswagen, Audi, Bentley, Nissan, Toyota, BMW brought them to the Best Credits nomination. Production costs are rising and demand is falling. The losers in competition also receive an award for the best advertisement for Chinese manufacturers, the loud event of the outgoing year, the Olympics in Paris. The Capitol was polished for millions of guests, and although the slogan of the competition was "Games Open to All," it did not extend to the homeless. They were seated on buses and taken to the provinces, and no one turned a blind eye to the intestinal infection. He groomed the city of love for the sporting event. Emmanuel Macron receives the award for best makeup and hairstyles.
What a disgusting thing, you're jellied fish.
Well, our ceremony has come to an end. This was the adapted Oscar 2024. Thank you guys, we're done. Happy upcoming holidays to everyone. Why don't you remind us, we forgot one more nomination. Tourist of the Year, once again, the award goes to Zelensky. That's definitely all. Let's say goodbye to the outgoing leap year, and hope that next year the distinguished will only be in good nominations.